So another trip to Fight Island. It's been a while since that first trip 6 months ago. Broken jaw. What's that experience been like since then?
I mean, I brought my jaw in the first round of the fight. I mean, I come back and I had to have an operation. They said I had to have 3 months off from contact. So I just ran and did pads and did what I could do basically to stay fit. Because obviously I wanted to get straight back in there as soon as I was healthy and my jaw was good.
And obviously, it must have been really frustrating that whole period because you'd had a long time out anyway, leading up to that fight. To have another period on the sidelines, were you mentally prepared for that, having experienced that anyway, or was it still just as tough considering the injury?
It was just frustrating really before that. Obviously I wanted to just get going because I had a decent debut, and then I was supposed to fight again a few months after that. I got injured. Then I was supposed to fight, and then the pandemic hit us, and and then we didn't know when we was fighting. Then we ended up on the island. So yeah, it was just frustrating not getting going really. But now obviously I'm healthy, and I just want to get going, and I just want to get fighting as many times as I can.
Yeah, I bet. And those sorts of fights, the flip side of that, having gone 3 rounds with a broken jaw, that's when you really learn a lot about yourself in terms of your toughness and your pain threshold, which I'm sure you're well aware of anyway. But that must have been something different. And to get through that and perform the way that you did, you must be pretty pleased in hindsight now to have got through that.
Yeah, I mean, I always knew if I was in any kind of trouble in a fight that I'd fight on until he either puts me to sleep or knocks me out. So I always kind of had that in the back of my mind, really. And I was in trouble, my vision was blurred and stuff like that with the broken jaw throughout the fight after that happened. So that's why obviously my performance wasn't the greatest due to that, but it did change the fight. But it was an experience. I know when I'm in that position again, there's certain things I'll change and do. And I've come back and I've spoke to my coach and we've worked on mistakes that we needed to work on. So yeah, there's some plus sides obviously of losing that fight as well.
And then obviously I'm not going to bore everyone with the current situation. Everyone knows what's going on in the world at the moment. But just the whole idea of having Fight Island still continuing, to go from the festive period where you're spending time with your family and then having to leave, is that the sort of thing that inspires you to fight that much harder being away from families? Because I understand that a lot of high level athletes will separate themselves from the families anyway during a camp to get that grit inside of them. The fact that you're forced to do that now, does that make you want it that much more and make it that much more difficult in that respect for you?
I mean, I'm always as hungry as ever, really. Whether I'm with or away from my family, it doesn't matter. But I mean, I'm always very hungry, but yeah, like you say, obviously there's been a lot of sacrifices, obviously over Christmas. But it's sacrifices I'm used to. It's sacrifices I've made my whole life during my wrestling career and things like that. There's been many a times where I've had to train Christmas Day because I've been competing not long after. So I'm kind of used to it, really. And my family's obviously very supportive, and they're kind of used to it as well. So yeah, it's nothing really too new. But I'm hungry as ever, and especially coming off a loss, there's definitely lit a fire in my belly, and I'm more hungry. I've always been hungry, but I can't really go away from that last fight, from losing and thinking I need to train harder because I can't train any harder than I ever did. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, I'm well over training. So I always trained hard. There's just some slight changes I've made, and I'm confident I'm coming to win in this fight.
And obviously, the aim of the whole sport in general is to inflict as much damage or have as much dominance over your opponent as possible to ensure a win either by stoppage or by decision. Now, the interesting thing about this fight is both of you guys are coming off injuries, which, from the outsider's perspective, would highlight some target areas for both of you. Obviously, his eye is a thing that you'd be looking at, and the jaw area is something that he'd be looking at. In terms of his eye situation, is that something that you've actively thought about because it's been a real tough experience for him as well. He said that he'd considered having his eye removed because he was having that difficult vision for 9 months or so after the
Right.
fight.
Right, his eye. It's not so. I'm probably. I mean, we're always trying to crack each other in the face, so I'm sure he's going to try and crack me in the jaw. And I'm going to try and crack him in his eyes. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
That is what's going to definitely happen at some point. But I'm going to stick to what my coaches spoke to me about and what we're going to do, and I'm going to dominate the fight really.
And then when you look at his career, Nik Lentz, like you say, big household name, been around for over 10 years in the UFC alone, fought some of the biggest names like Gray Maynard, Oliveira, people like that. To have him as a name on your record, if you defeat him, how big is that for you going forward in 2021?
Yeah, I think it's a great start to 2021. Really, he's a, like you say, he's a household name. He's been in the UFC since before I even thought about doing mixed martial arts. In 2009, I was still wrestling, and I was wrestling the World Championships in 2009, and not concentrating on mixed martial arts. So he's been around a long time, got a lot of experience. He's a gritty, tough fighter, and he's not easy to finish by the looks of it. From what I've seen. So me coming out here and finishing him, it'll make a statement, and for my name, I think it gives me a little bit more power, and that's what I want really. I want to work up them ranks. I'm not saying I'm going to move up the ranks beating Nik Lentz because I don't know what he's ranked. I don't think he's ranked too high, but he's definitely a name that's going to look good on me when I beat him.
And I know there's a bunch of British guys at your weight class at 145, and I've seen over the years. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but when the UFC has ventured into the UK, with those London cards and stuff, they've tend to keep the UK guys away from each other. We've got guys like Lerone Murphy, who's from Manchester as well in your weight class, and then Arnold Allen as well. Would you actively welcome fights against British names in your division as well, or is that something that you just not thought about? It would make sense down the line, wouldn't it, to build up a big British fight for both teams?
I mean, I'm the kind of guy who will fight anyone. It doesn't matter where they're from, really, And yeah, I'm very open to having a fight with any British guys. It doesn't matter to me who I fight, but yeah, and like you said, it'd be nice to build up a fight because we've got some decent featherweights in this country, and nice to build up a fight and put it on a London card. High up in the main card, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely open to fights like that.
100%. I'd love to see it. And then when you're looking at your training camp so far, just away from that, I've seen that Conor Benn actually went to your gym, and did you do a bit of wrestling with him as well? Just a bit of grappling.
He did, yeah. He come down a couple of weeks ago, but I was just teaching the class and wrestling myself. So yeah, he was doing a bit with Till and doing a bit with the lads. I didn't play him too much. I had a chat to him and that. He was athletic.
Yeah.
He had a little go.
Yeah.
He'd probably cross over okay.
Yeah. I mean, how interesting is it for you to see that crossover idea with someone like that? Because in the video, he seemed like he was pretty cocksure of himself at first, but then it does become the reality that there's so many different variables that you guys have to deal with in the cage. Is it always like a nice feeling to show people just how much goes into this sport when they are an outsider like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't come into mixed martial arts just being a boxer. Do you know what I mean? There's so much to learn, and it takes a long time to learn it as well. You know what I mean? Wrestling. Obviously, I've been wrestling since I was 6 years old. Do you know what I mean? So there's so much to learn. It's not something you can learn in a year. So yeah, he's if he wants to cross over, he needs to cross over soon, I'd say, and get a good sprawl on him.
Yeah. And then you find yourself on a big featherweight card, Kattar versus Holloway. Does that actually help you in terms of the fans tuning in? They're tuning for the main event. A lot of the casuals will be tuning in for the big 145 main event. But if they're watching the card, you're getting your name out there as a name to be seen in that division. Is that something that actively helps you again, or you're just taking whatever card they throw at you at that point?
I mean, yeah, that is the card. Obviously, I got off. I wanted to fight earlier. I wanted to fight in. I was ready to fight in November, December. So, but this is the card they offered me, and yeah, I mean, it's fine. You know, I mean, Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar is a great fight. Like you said, it's two people I'm going to keep an eye on. They're in my division, top of my division. So, they're two people I've got my eye on, and for it to be main card on my card, you know, I'll see and I'll size up against them, and you know, like you said, a lot of eyes on that fight. A lot of eyes are going to be on that fight, and you know, I think that's a great fight, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. How do you see that one going?
I think Max is going to win on a decision, but it's a great fight. Like I said, Calvin Kattar has obviously got great boxing, so has Max. Just different kind of boxers, but I think Max will edge it on decision.
And then when you look at your gym in general, obviously we got two guys from the Wigan area, and yourself and Tom, who's from Atherton, where I'm from. How cool is it for you guys to represent this area on such a big global stage? Because we had this discussion before, didn't we? How it's very rare for people from this specific area of the world to represent this area on a sporting stage like that. So huge.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's great, you know, to be representing the town. I mean, I'm from Wigan, and you know, there's not, without sounding thingy, there's not many people who get out there and do too much. You know, there's a handful of us who are fighting or doing athletics or something on the world stage. There's not many.
Yeah.
So yeah, to represent the town like that is massive, really. And you know, the Wigan people are great. You know, they're behind us definitely. When we come to fight, it's a massive experience for the Wigan people as well. You know, they're all tuning in, they're all watching, and they're all messaging us and giving us a lot of support. So for them to do that, you know, it's great as well.
In terms of your schedule now for this week ahead, are you leaving at the end of this week now? Is that the start of your journey at the end of this week, or is it not still till next week?
No, I leave on Wednesday.
Okay.
To London.
Yeah.
I've got a quarantine in London for 2 days after a COVID test. Then I leave to Abu Dhabi. Then I've got to do 48 hours quarantine in Abu Dhabi after another COVID test, and then I can be let out of the hotel. Then, so like we'll probably get out of the hotel on Sunday night, Monday, and then I've got fight week then. Yeah,
and then in terms of that, you've done that before.
Yeah.
How difficult was that last time? Is that something that you're dreading a bit, or is it it's just all part of it now, and you've come to accept it, the idea of being isolated in that way?
I don't mind it, to be honest. You know, I like my own time and I like my own space, so I don't mind chilling and relaxing there on my own. So I don't mind. And like you say, I've done it now. I've got the experience. I've travelled there, quarantined there, and I know how everything works. So yeah, I think that works in my favour, really.
And then, like we said, no stranger to sacrificing that festive period for yourself in terms of your competition. If you are victorious and when you do come back, are you going to give yourself a bit of a rest period to enjoy with your family, just maybe for a few weeks, just to completely switch off? Because I'm guessing that you haven't had the opportunity to switch off given the injury for the past 6 months. You've not been able to fully relax, have you?
No, I've not. I mean, it's not just that. I've not let myself relax. As soon as I had my operation, I was training the day after. So I was running, like, you know, I was doing something. So, you know, that's just because obviously I lost. The most place I felt comfortable was in the gym. It wasn't at home eating away at the loss. So
yeah,
the place where I felt comfortable was in the gym. So that's where I went, you know, every day. So I've not let myself relax. But yeah, I will relax after, because my missus is my wife's pregnant and she's due soon as I get back. So
oh wow,
I'm literally going to fight, and then when I get back, she's going to be ready to drop the baby. Like, so
that's worked out perfect timing, hasn't it? Really, that's not a bad thing to come back to, is it?
Hopefully, unless she has it early.
Yeah,
hopefully,
yeah.
That's why I'm in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, let's not think like that.
No.
That's all the inspiration you need, though, isn't it? Really, going into a fight like that. That's like you said, you're not short of inspiration anyway. But if you ever needed any, there's no more than a situation like that, really, is it?
No, not at all. You know, I mean, like you said, a new baby on the way. It's my third boy
Yeah.
that's coming, so I'm
Another
excited.
wrestler in the making.
Something to look forward to as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Good man. Right. Well, I wish you all the best of luck, Mike. I know you're going to be mega busy now. I really appreciate your time ahead of that. And yeah, you're doing the town of Wigan proud every time you step in there, mate. So all the best of luck.
Thanks very much, mate. Thanks for having me on as well.
Top man. Thank you. See you in a bit, mate.